Welcome to season 3.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Work is there and we're
That's
doing our creative thing. And I'm doing this creative thing, which has given me just
yes,
so much joy.
yes, and I was so excited about the Ronnie Sue book when you did the drop. I was just like, finally, Stacey Turo is doing the thing she wants to do. So I'm just happy, and I'm here watching as well.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, just trying to get, the good word out about all of my students who have been impactful and important in my life. It's nice to showcase where they are now.
I just miss you so much, though. Just know that you're a big inspiration to me as well. I always called you my dance mother.
I
You
know.
played a big part into basically the that generation of us.
You guys had a very important impact on me as well in terms of my pathway as a teacher and as an artist.
Yeah.
And I think it all just worked together. It was lovely. It's a lovely connection.
Right.
Yeah. Welcome to Change for the Better, episode 39. I'm Stacey Tiro, a high school performing arts teacher for over 25 years. I've taught a lot of amazing people. Now that so many of my students are adults, they'll teach me how, through the lessons in my classroom, they have been changed for the better.
Ooh, number 39. It's going to be a good one.
Number 39. It's going to be a great one. Royalty is in the house.
I have arrived.
You have. So this is a graduate of 2011, and he worked alongside with many of my other guests, like Tandrina Alexander, Hearns Laguerre Jr., Jessica Butler, Melissa Iglodi, Bianca Pierre, Elia Shavrova, Alex Domini. The list goes on and on.
And we all still keep in contact.
It's true. It's so lovely. And like his peers, he found comfort in the performing arts environment at Spring Valley High School.
Yeah.
So when I met this person, he was a bundle of pulsing energy.
Yeah.
He was all over the place. He needed to get it out in a creative way. He loved the discipline of dancing and choreography and performance, which seemed to be the key to tame and focus that impulsive nature. And when he finally discovered the studio, because it wasn't right away,
Right.
he took full advantage of everything that it had to offer in his last 2 years of high school. He joined thespians, he tried acting in a fall show, and he sang and danced in the musicals Pippin and The Drowsy Chaperone. But where his star shined the brightest was under the flashing stage lights and the booming beats, popping, locking, and crumping to the latest hip hop song. That was his wheelhouse. And this
Yeah.
is where he became sort of famous in our community and where he developed his personal vision. Always
Yeah.
a man of action, he demanded high quality, both from himself and his fellow performers, this sort of group of dancers and performers that he cultivated. And he learned quickly how to become a leader. And the studio was his home away from home, where he explored lots of facets of the thing that he loved the most, dancing.
Yes.
In the process, he absorbed every lesson that he was offered, and he synthesized all those lessons into the person that he would eventually become. He took his talents and his desire to hone his business acumen to the University of Hartford, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in Business and Managerial Economics. Flash forward to today. Now, the bank manager and mortgage originator at Trustco Bank in Briarcliff Manor. He wears a suit during the day, but just underneath the wool jacket and tie lies an energetic force in artistic entrepreneurship. After hours, he is the owner of House of Kings Holdings, LLC.
Yes.
He has performed on stage in So You Think You Can Dance, America's Got Talent, the Apollo Theater. He's done some backup dancing for Beyonce, and he danced in countless dance battles. From his high school days of dreaming big, he has transformed himself into somewhat of a mini mogul. And I wanted to read a little bit from the About Us section on his House of Kings website. What is House of Kings? An authentic house of creators, building royal self perception, self value through the production of premium clothing and securing intellectual property ownership in the new creative economy and digital entertainment. Among other things, this businessman slash entrepreneur slash artist has a clothing line. He understands NFTs, is a firefighter, most importantly, a family man. He lives up to the ideals of royalty and embodies my favorite phrase, be your best you. I'm so excited for you to finally meet him. So we're going to get right into the questions.
Yes, I am here. I have come for this. I'm actually more excited than you are because it's been so long, and you kind of created all of this in a way. And I love giving flowers and giving credit where it's due. You, I say once again, were one of the biggest influences and changes for me personally in my life. So where do you want to start? Because I could go forever about our connections and the stories. So which question is first?
Let's start with the simple question. What is your name, the year that you graduated, and tell me a little bit more about what you do and who you are now.
Joseph Wallace, also known as JD Royalty, Joe Royalty, depending on how you found me. I am from the class of 2011 Spring Valley High School, the last class of heaven. During the day, I am a bank manager in Westchester, Briarcliff Manor. I run a branch that holds right now 48 million. Yes, so you trust me with your assets, basically. I also have done, for the year of 2022, I've done 68 mortgages during one of the hardest times. So that proves the discipline portion. That's why I wanted to mention that, because you have to set something in your mind and you have to stick to it even with the adversity. That's during the day. Then after 5 o'clock comes, I've become me again. I've become Joe Royalty Wallace. So in my world of House of Kings, we hold intricate like detail. So okay, right now we are creating clothing, as you can see. The clothing represents, I don't know how much you can see. Right now I'm working on something called divine reflection. That's what it says. I don't know if you could really zoom in.
Upgraded.
Upgraded, but this is a part of the divine reflection collection. What's after royalty? When you feel you reached a peak, that's when you start to look into the mirror, because you have to challenge yourself now if you can't seek the competition needed for you to grow. So you start to look within, you start to challenge yourself, you become your greatest competition. But what I always noticed is, in a way, I have my own spiritual connections. And for me, I decided to take it as a divine reflection because I'm at a point where I got the discipline down, I have the work ethic down. But what's missing? What's missing? Is it love? Is it no, it's not love because I have a significant other. Is it religion? No, because I'm deep within my religion. So it's more of a spiritual connection, I guess, to the world in terms of connecting with your creativity, connecting with others. It doesn't have to be spiritual, guys. What I'm like the actual meaning of spiritual, but I just mean that connection. So I'm more into deeper connections now. So I rather sit down and have that 5 minute talk with you if I'm on the go and I just happen to see you. I have to take the time out. I want to have that connection because that memory means more to me than anything. There's no value you can put on it. Things come and go, material, money comes and goes, but the memory stays. And that's where I'm at with House of Kings for divine reflection. In terms of intellectual property and this whole NFT craze right now, We were lucky. Okay. So Miss Turo can co-sign for this. I like to be ahead of any wave. So if something comes out, I just like to dive in and do the research before everyone else does. So NFTs was kind of lucky. That was one of the lottos, I can say, which I dove into NFTs, which is a non-fungible token. What is it in simple terms, so we don't dive into that for this podcast, is think of the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa, I would say, is a physical NFT. If I were to give you $20 bill, you can give me four or five, 20 singles. That's fungible. The exchange value is the same no matter how many pieces there are. But the Mona Lisa, its value changes every day based on the value someone puts on it or feels that it's worth at that time. So that's the best way to really compare it. Non-fungible tokens to fungible tokens. I found this beautiful art piece that you guys may know as punks or bored apes in the news. And I just happened to grab a few. A couple of years later, I'm sitting on something nice now. So I was able to turn that intellectual property into working with certain celebrities because they trust my vision for Web3, NDA, sorry, specific sports celebrities, just to give you more in depth if you were to follow me on Twitter. I'm working with them, helping them organize their Web3 communities. What is Web3? You're moving from the stages of Facebook, the stages of regular KYC is what we call it, know your customer, having an email, having a login, basically all your information's at risk. That's Web2. Web3 is you own all of that. So whenever you log in, it's just a randomized transaction code digit. There's no support. So if you happen to mess up sending money, sorry guys. You know, I love it because you have your freedom of ownership. With the ownership for this intellectual property, and now that it's tied to monetary value, you become a little more conservative with how you play things out, and you learn how to invest different long term. You want to invest for your kids in the future. You think long term now. But we'll stop there because I could keep going down the rabbit hole for
Right.
everything that I'm doing.
With
Okay. But
financials and yeah.
yeah, so financial, bank, NFTs, the clothing line, and we still create. Me and Hervé are back at it this year. So you may see something.
That's great. Let's take your well-developed and successful adult brain, and I want you to go back and describe your adolescent self, the Joey that I knew.
The ball of energy. So if you could picture a young teenager male as the Energizer Bunny, just bing, 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 that was me. And I did not need caffeine.
Nope.
Water was just enough. I had a blessing and a curse. I had a lot of energy and I didn't know what to do with it. A young teenager who happens to cause mischief sometimes, you get into things because you have too much energy. One day, there was a homecoming before Spring Valley where I wasn't known as a dancer yet. I wasn't really into that. But Hervé, of course, being my friend at the time, he started dancing. Then he was like, "Oh, let's go, let's come on in." So we all just started dancing in a circle, and you just got this. I just got this nirvanic feeling that was like a release at the same time. Positive energy was coming into me, and it was addicting to me. So from there, as I went on to Spring Valley High School, I didn't know about this dance room yet. We didn't really have it yet. I think we were actually the year before me was the year it was actually open to everyone, like to be able to create
See.
freely the way we were able to
Well,
create.
the studio was opened as of 2005. So you were a freshman. Let's see, you graduated in 2011, so 2007. It
Yeah.
was it was a pretty new space, newish space that I was still trying to figure out what it was going to be overall. And
Yes.
so I had classes and
Mhm.
thespian rehearsals, and I was trying to like figure out how to incorporate more
Yeah,
people.
with the timing and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
there was a year where you started to give us real creative freedom of the room for an hour after all the lessons. So let's start with the lessons, with connecting with the lessons. I meet Miss Taro. Miss Taro sees that I'm a ball of energy that likes to dance. So Miss Tiro challenges me to learn other dances. It's like, oh, you're stuck in this hip hop world, but what about ballet? What about jazz? What about this? The way you phrased it was interesting to me because you actually pointed out one of my main weaknesses as a dancer was I needed to complete my sentences. You said all of these other aspects of dance would basically be a dictionary for me. It would be like opening a book, being able to finish my sentence and pull from the jazz world, add it in, pull from this world, add it in, pull from ballet, add it in. We were having this conversation that year, actually. You were the first real all style dancer that we knew before all styles became a thing. You started challenging me. So jazz, boom, loved it, started incorporating it, but it was too easy for me. So then you hit me with the next one. So now I'm going to 3 classes back to back because as a junior and senior, you start having study halls, you start having extra classes. So I just started, oh, Mr. O's having a class. Let me jump in this one too. Because I just had so much energy. I can go all day. 5th period would be jazz. I'm there instead of lunch. I would eat a little bit, come to that class, learn Cassandra, Mimi, and all of them. That was that class. The class after that was more of the ballet. You were working on something with them for their college, and it interested me because it was so high level for me at the time that I just was like, this is discipline. But you were so tough on those two specifically, and I was just like, what is this? This is next level. This is what it takes to get to the next level. And then that's when I started watching all of these shows, and I said, I know what I want to do. I want to be the greatest dancer. Even though to you it might have seemed like classes, I was on a mission. My mission now was I have to be the greatest dancer, which means I have to put in the most hours, which means I have to know everything. And if I know everything, I can also teach. We find Michael. Michael was actually a basketball player.
Yes, he was.
And he did something with the ball one day. That thing, he threw it up and he went like this. The ball rolled down. And I was like, nope, I see it. You come here. You come here. Me and Hervé bothered him about it. He didn't want to dance at first. He was a shy guy. Then finally we opened him up. Now we have a crew. Team Royalty at the time. It wasn't House of Kings yet. That's funny, the evolution of things.
That's right.
We're going around dancing together, making pieces for the shows. Now all of us are thespians. All 3 of us are participating. We're in all of the shows. And it became so personal. It was like the show was what we lived for every year. Like, we have to build this show. It has to be perfect. There's 7. That's how you knew I was crazy. There's 786 seats in Spring Valley High School. And I said every one of them had to be filled. I knew how many seats they were. And I knew that the back can hold 27 people standing up because I was so obsessed about sold out shows and putting on this extravaganza that I wanted people from all over to say, that's not a high school. That's a birth of superstars. And that's why I always said, Tiro births superstars. She breeds monster beast dance, whatever it is. If it's acting, if it's dancing, if it's even singing, because you have better singers. I'll say it for you. You have better singers than some of the school teachers we're producing. And also look how many gigs that all of your students got doing Broadway. Look at all of the gigs. Nyack.
Oh, well, Riverside, it was
Yeah.
Hayes for a while. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, look how many of us participated in all of those, together. We just started evolving. Finally, YouTube. All of a sudden, Michael had a crazy little camera. So we decided to start recording all these shows and the little practices and stuff and just throwing them on YouTube when no one cared about YouTube. All of a sudden, we were starting to get 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 views. And we're only in like 10th, 11th grade at the time. It wasn't monetization yet. But I remember that day because I got the email in Miss Terrell's room on my little Sidekick phone at the time. Remember Sidekicks? There was an email from YouTube that said, congratulations, you reached monetization. You're invited to the YouTube partnership program. And I felt like I got the biggest contract of life. I went to Mr. I was like, I did it. I made it. I was just like, yes, we're going to make it. That was the true start of everything right there. Pulling from the discipline of having to learn each dance, having to condense your energy to last 3-4 classes to keep going, having to sit down and formate different choreographies, learn to piece things together, having to learn to coordinate others who are either in better condition or in a not so good condition, that you all have to still look in unison. So you have to even learn how their body moves. I was teaching in Buchanan a few years, and I took on a challenge that no one wanted to. There was a disabled class. Children had certain parts like missing sometimes. I guess the teacher on the gig website, she was ready to cry because she said everyone kind of declined it. It was hard for them to either teach it from watching the other kids, or they just didn't know how to rearrange for certain body parts. So I said, "Oh, that's a challenge. I like challenge. Let me try that. Let me do this. I'll do it. Actually, I'll do it free. This is a thing to me. It goes deeper than that for me. I had to teach each one their own individual piece to piece it together. We had a class where you taught us to freestyle or how to develop freestyling. If you don't have choreography, how to make something on the spot, we're using what you have. First, you went into dimensions with horizontal planes and vertical planes. That goes deeper than dance because there's going to be situations in life where you're not going to have the script. You're not going to know what to say. You're going to have to go off the fly, or things are going to change. In those moments, you're going to have to use what you have. It could be having to pull the vertical dimension in front of you, which to me, vertical is the direct things that you can touch or pull. The horizontal is the things let's say you have to research on the fly to get this job because you didn't know enough. So you're like, oh, but I'll find out so I can get, so you go and do the research. Now you have it down. You knew how to do the research to get what you needed in that small amount of time on the fly. Even though to you, it was just teaching dance. It was no, this discipline is going to teach you to lock in life. Teaching me to freely think, freely freestyle, and work with others, being cooperative, having a good workspace, having a good work team. Oh, this person's not pulling their load. Okay, we only look as good as the weakest link. That stuck with me with the visual portion to the point that no, you're the weakest link on paper. You're not doing your sales. Let me help you pull your sales so we all look good, because even in the workplace, guys, for the high schoolers watching this, they're gonna digest your flaws. You could hit all of your goals this month. Why didn't you get two more? It's not to demean you, it's to kind of keep you balanced in a way. So it's like, yeah, you have a high head right now because you hit all your goals, but now you're balanced. But for me, I never wanted to do that. I rather all of us look 100% together from the start. And that's why I guess the leadership came in, because I never wanted the weakest link to look weaker than me. Everyone had to look better than me, so I had to evolve.
Talking from a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
what was something or things that happened in the studio environment, in the theater environment, that helped you to regulate or manage your adolescent self, your energy when you were maybe not on an even keel?
There was an incident in the hallway. I'm not going to go through the incident, but you just happened to open the door. And I was twice. See, that's how much energy, guys. There was always something going on. And Taro just happened to have good timing. If it's walking from the gym to the studio and just saying, let's go, Joe, or just opening the door and being, what the heck? There was an altercation that had nothing to do with me happening as you and Miss Palm were walking from the vending machines to the studio. And I guess one of my friends got into an altercation. And then the timing was just perfect because you were just like, oh, come help me with something that had to involve the show. And then the other individuals who got into it all got in trouble, ended up getting suspended. And then there was a whole big thing. And then that made me realize I can do more with my time. Let's make time blocks so my mind doesn't wander. Okay, this hour we're going to do this. That's how I apply it now. This hour we're going to do this. This hour we're going to do this. Let me work out instead of, I feel angry, let me stretch. I feel sad, let me put on a song and do a little something that I can keep going, that I'll feel better. I can make myself feel nirvanic. It's still a social thing too. I'll go out if I don't know how to talk, bust a move. And it's going to open a whole conversation. Oh, that was amazing. What's going on? Where you guys are from? Oh, okay.
I do feel like part of being in your space
Yeah.
was a sort of a melding of the verbal and the physical. And this translates through, all of, musical theater, of dance theater, the idea that what can't be spoken or said can be expressed through movement in some other way. You embodied that.
I had big communication issues. I could not express how I felt, so I rather show you through a dance form.
Yeah, yeah,
which now I can blab forever.
yeah. Well, the brain takes a little while to materialize and become its adult self. So you've done tons of reflection here. You're just doing your thing here, and that's a beautiful
It's just been so long,
thing.
it's like a catch up at the same time. So the memories come as I look at your face. It's a
I
wonderful thing.
love it, but I love the sort of specific stories because some people have trouble when they're looking back, they have trouble like getting to like the specific things. You've got so many specifics.
Memories are so golden to me now. That's the only thing that doesn't change. And that's the one precious thing that 20, 30 years from now, I can still hold on to.
Well, that's great. And I'm glad that I'll be able to reflect those memories in here in the podcast and on the blog. So thank you for sharing those. Okay, let's look at yourself then, yourself now. How have you changed since you left high school?
I think about my actions. um, okay. That is one of the main ones though. But let's see. I take discipline serious in terms of if it's personal, business, or playing around, even all three worlds. Playing around could be watching TV or nonsense or your free time for your hobby. If you know that it's going to take too much and not be a productive state, and you put a limit on it. Health. As a dancer, it kind of goes hand in hand to take care of your body and your health. I'm open about certain things, right? I'm not going to go too much into detail, but there was a time where fame kind of got to my head. So I was indulging in a lot of club activities. So you're up late, you're drinking more, you're not taking care of yourself. It comes with certain environments of dance too. So you have to know that's a part of the discipline. You just have to know your limits. I have to stretch daily if I want to maintain flexibility. I have to eat this to maintain a physique that could do that or keep my endurance up, so that it goes hand in hand and it pushes you to live a healthier lifestyle. So I am healthier. I cook for myself. Another thing that I changed, because I was only eating, what was I eating? Cookies all day. I think those rainbow cookies were,
You can get away with it when you're 16.
I was literally eating just cookies all day and that mac and cheese. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
There's the fact that you just want to reach out to others. There was a Margette's. I like using Margette's as an example. Right after 12th grade, we did a little tour. It was me, Hervé, Michael, and a few others. There was a time where there was no more assemblies among elementary school
Oh my
in
God.
that district. So what did we say? We said, you want an assembly? We got you. Okay. Give us an hour show. We're going to all the elementary schools. And that's what we did. So about 6, 7 years passed by, which this might have happened to you all the time.
Mm.
Those same students that were watching you are telling you stories about how you changed their life. Like, I wanted to be a dancer ever since and these people have way more followers than me on TikTok now and all this stuff. Great. So it's great. I feel like it's like an extension of your own generation, right? Like I'm your extension and I'm making extensions for you now, It's interesting. So the way you touched me, I have to touch others. I have to show my vision and help another individual's vision.
Like paying it forward.
Yeah, I do that a lot. So I like to help others a lot in terms of, oh, you want to dance, or you having a hard time, or why are you being a knucklehead? Let me show you what you could do with your time. Even my nephews, I do that with them. Dance is still a major part of me today.
How has that changed for you? Like,
Yeah.
how has your
Expressions.
well, not just expressions, but like how you encompass dance in your life? Has that changed at all?
Yes, because I'm not out to prove anything anymore. So the first arc or saga or few chapters, I had something to prove. You guys could look this up for those of you interested. You can look up the Battle Fest days of JB Royalty, or if you just know street dance history. There was a time where I used to go all these battles to get recognition. So at battles, you're recorded, they put it on the internet. This was the early days of Instagram didn't exist yet. That's how long ago it was. It was just YouTube. So you're going up, you're getting a name now. I wanted a name so bad from upstate because Rockland was not a place known for street dancers. We had good like Juilliard dancers, but not street dancers. So I'll give that credit. So I said, we need a staple over here. And I want to be that staple. If it's not me, someone from my team. Started battling a lot. I got banned from a dance league. Not through like altercation or anything. It was just through fan hype. Because I had a little fan base that was aggressive because I was aggressive. I attracted aggressive people because of the aggression I had when I was expressing myself. So what did I express? Aggression, more crump stuff.
Sure.
I'm like, I had the image more of a more aggressive dancer. So at that time, that was what I was attracting. You go to Apollo, you have more proving, you're more aggressive, you're more hungry. I would lose an arm to be on that stage. You know, like it's a different hunger. I literally hurt my leg. I was on crutches for like 7 months. No one knew about this. And I did my own physical therapy because I'm hard-headed. I always been hard-headed still.
I
So
know.
I did. I remember what AC used to do to me with my leg when I had an injury on my leg. I said, what would AC do? Okay. But it worked out. I went to the doctor and they said, oh, you did a great job, dude. Doing your own recovery. So, but ever since I hurt my leg after doing all of these shows and everything, I went to a battle and there was water on the ground. I went to do the jump split, and because of the water, it forced friction and it hurt my hamstring and whatever.
Mm.
Like, it was like tore and everything.
Mhm.
I was out for a year. It was a humbling experience. You realize you can't do much. And as a dancer, it hurts you because you're like, I can't move. I have no value. I'm not
Right.
worthy.
Right. So now you don't feel like you have something to prove. You're
No,
doing it because
I love it. So
this
I'll jump in. Before I would start with a crump thing or something that's trendy. Now I'll throw on some contemporary music and I'm like, I'll start with that. I'll start with the slower motion, the things that let me feel good. And then I'm like, okay, let me take out the camera and do something for the trend right now. I taught my daughter bar, first, second, third position, what I remembered. And I realized I didn't remember a lot. So I was like, let me stop here before I teach her incorrect.
let's get her into ballet class.
We sent her. I still have the tap shoes.
It's funny because I thought as I was writing the intro, I was like, he learned tap dance in Drowsy Chaperone. That was a new thing for him.
That was a challenge that we took. And you would not let that challenge go because you were like, we're either doing this tap thing or we're not. You got 2 weeks. I was like, what?
You got rhythm? Show me.
2 weeks? I still remember that stuff.
That's so great.
Oh my gosh, me and Michael, because we used to make fun of each other every time we went to like a bar or something. We would always reminisce of the place, so we would always react that part with the tap shoes. We're like, "There's no tap. You don't hear the little." It was always fun. You created memories for life.
That's the goal, isn't it? What would your adult self go back and tell your high school self now to ease the way or be the best Joey?
You're gonna have a lot of outside noise. Ignore the outside noise, but know the difference between noise and advice. That's genuine.
Yeah.
That's the best short version of it. There's going to be a lot of people telling you, no, don't do it. It's not for you. Why are you doing that? That's whack. It's ugly. You're bad at it. It took me 5 years before I got oh my gosh, you're an amazing dancer. That's why I said I had something to prove, because it took me having view counts for people to want to mimic my style or say that you're something. You're the greatest from the minute you looked in that mirror and said, I'm going to do it.
And that seems to be the royalty perspective.
Yes.
What is something that you're grappling with now?
As you grow a family, time balance. So you're going to laugh at this. A lot of us don't realize it. Let's say you didn't dance for a week. If it's something you do on your daily routine, or let's say for you, it's that gym flipping thing, doing a backflip on Instagram, right? let's say you don't do that for a week and it's a part of your natural routine and it's been it for years. If you stop, you might have some type of little aggression that you may not notice, like in a day, like I'm aggravated today. What's wrong with me? I had to ask myself one day. I said, I'm upset, but why am I upset? Joe, why are you upset? There's nothing to be upset about. No one No one did anything to you. Financials are fine. You didn't break or lose anything. What's the problem? I didn't dance for 2 weeks. Let me see something. Oh, I felt way better. I was good. I was singing all week after that. One is the whole time management thing. I have a stepdaughter.
Adorable, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, I love her so much. And she loves it when I dance. So I was like, that's another reason I keep dancing is like when I get in the zone, I turn around and she's on the chair like, how do I do that? And I'm like, oh, come, let me show you. Let me show you. And then it gives me that stage effect. You know what I'm talking about? Like, oh, I have a viewer.
Right.
Like that chest thing. Like you
It's
just
almost like you have to prove yourself again.
yeah. So you feel it in you feel it in your chest, that nirvanic feeling, like someone's watching me and is inspired, so it's good. Yeah, and having to be the right role model. And I guess the whole royal factor of being a part of my moral kind of leads the way for that. I lost my mother this year, by the way. Yeah, so in June. So I learned a lot of how much I relied on her for emotional support for certain things. So as an adult, you realize you're going to have to find that thing, no matter what it is. If it's drinking coffee, if it's knocking on tables, like just find something that's for you, that's your mental release, because you will drive yourself crazy. For me, it's dance. And that's why this is so an important podcast, is because dance saved my life. Miss Taro knows more of the personal details, but being volatile with a lot of energy and then learning how to control all of that, and then losing something that is an emotional support to you, and then having to learn in a short period of time through discipline, through all of the things that we spoke about through this podcast, to have to pick yourself up, to not fold, so that you can still be a father, so you can still be a great boyfriend, soon to be husband, so that you can still be the leader at your job. People could still look up to you and hold you up. You have to prove to yourself in that mirror through divine reflection that you got this. It's you versus you right now. And all you have is everything that everyone has taught you that really saved you, is to keep using those things through repetition to get through whatever time it is that you need to get through.
Well, first of all, ouch.
Yeah.
I know the feeling and I feel for you. It is the worst feeling when you lose a parent, when you lose your mom. It's like a hole just gets like ripped
Yes.
out of you. And the challenge of how do we redefine ourselves in their absence? How do we take their legacy and let it blossom?
Right.
And you're doing it.
I guess that's where I get the royalty aspect from, is I won't just say her. It's going to be because I call you dance mom. I have my real mom, and then I have a work mom. That inspirational buildup, that's really where the royalty comes from. If you're a student who does not have that at home, where you have a parent or two parents that will build you up. My mother built me up all the time. She said, "You are my son. You are a young king." Blah 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 blah, and that carried with me literally. So
Literally.
it's funny because my girlfriend pointed that out. She was like, you didn't create this. Your mother did." Because I was like, whatever. Go look for that mentor. I sit back and I choose my mentors for the time. Tiro was a mentor to me. A random guy at the gas station who taught me about credit from a conversation became a mentor to me. It's funny because his saying was 30%, 30%, 30%, 30%. You already know what that means, right? Don't pass the 30% limit.
Yep.
And so find your mentor that you need, even if it takes 10. Build that village. It takes a village to raise a child. Build your village that's going to raise you. You don't have to stay in whatever situation it is. You don't have to sit there and keep crying. You can build yourself to be the greatest. Just start with that mirror. Look in that mirror, say, I'm the greatest. Go outside. Who inspired you outside? This person did. Hey, I have questions about life and I need answers, please. If they give it to you, that's a mentor. Put them in your phone. Go do that with 5 more. You now have a village that will help raise you. Tiro was one of the main villages that I needed. That studio was that community room, that was needed for me to do what I needed to do. You see, they feel my energy right now. You hear them?
They're all like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think you just answered like three questions all in one. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
The sage advice. And you're giving such incredible wisdom to a population who so desperately needs to hear it. And even if they do have the support system at home, some of them do, some of them have less of a support system. If it's not there, all is not lost. And like you said, you sometimes a child has to find it. They have to seek it out and build the community of people who they can trust, who they can go to, who they can call home.
I have a question for you.
Oh boy. Okay.
It's funny because this is a conversation me and my girlfriend had, which is all of you students are going to have this conversation with a friend or someone at the bar one day. They're going to be like, "How was high school for you?" Yeah, so how was high school for you? Was it fun? Was it exciting? Or was it boring?
Yeah, actually, high school was a much better experience than any other school experience prior to that.
Hmm.
I actually had a little bit of a tough elementary experience. I was really shy. I was quiet and
Hmm.
shy. There was bullies. There's a lot of I don't know, what I'm doing, who I am. I was, relatively smart, but not like the smartest in the class. And it was middle school where I did my first show, which was Bye Bye Birdie, and I played Mrs. McAfee.
Ooh.
And I found a little bit of that community where like we would sit in a circle and just, talk. And I was finally relating to groups of other people that I
Mhm.
never had before. And once I got to high school, I was able to capitalize on that because the people in like my grade, I didn't really connect with. But
Me
when I
either.
was like connecting with people who were maybe a little older than me, a little younger than me, I learned how to find my people.
Right.
And I think that directly informed how I approach, bringing kids in because
Right.
I know that, and I can just like, you can see it, you can look at them and just see it. You don't ever have to really meet them, but you could say, you come here. This is gonna be good for you. You don't think so, but
Yeah.
it's gonna, let's go.
Yeah.
And I try and use all of my power, my personal power, to help kids to connect with this community. Yeah, my high school experience was pretty good considering, where I came from didn't feel as good.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, same thing. When I talk to, for example, if you were to talk to me, Michael, Brandon, Hervé, and compare it to my, let's say, like my sister or my girlfriend's experience, two totally different experiences, and we all pretty much went to the same place, right?
Mhm.
Me, she said, listening to you guys' story is like watching a movie. It's like you guys had the best time of your life. I was like, hell yeah, we would do it again. I look forward to going to school to see my guys, to go to the dance studio, to go to the band room, certain things. It was like, it was so fun. But when you hear example like my girlfriend's story, other people's story, and then they're like, I didn't care for it too much,
Mm.
or I didn't like it because of this, because of that. And it's just like, wow. It's just a whole different perspective.
If
So
only we could have brought her into thespians. Come on.
right, exactly. So I said, one is just be open to the opportunities that the school has for you, and two, make the best of it. Don't be the Debbie Downer.
That's hard for some kids. The teenage brain, the teenage place is so, I say
Mhm.
narcissistic, not like in a negative way, but like the brain is built so that like you're just kind of thinking of your experience and thinking outward is not the natural state of being,
How about
right? It's like this compartmentalizing and like everything that's right here is the only thing that's going on. It's like, no, hi, we're out here and we can help you. We can
yeah,
bring you in. We can make you feel better. We can make you do things. And that's a hard barrier to break for a lot of kids. And I know you didn't kind of find the dance studio until a couple years in.
yeah, 2 years in.
Yeah, and there are kids who all the time I'm trying to say, you come here and they're resistant. They're not ready for it. And when they finally step in, they go, "All right, let me try." And they develop a little bit more courage and that it's like,
Reel you in.
I got you.
Can't stop forever because it feels like home, and then you can be yourself.
Yes.
Being able to be yourself, you didn't have to be the cool guy, you didn't have to be the sports jock, you didn't have to. You get it back in the day, all those names that we had, stuff.
Mhm.
So be you, like you would say.
What do you miss about your high school self?
That hunger, that drive, that I don't want to say lack of responsibilities, but because you have less responsibilities,
Mm,
you just had nothing to lose, so you were willing to risk it all for a
mm.
dream. You still have that hunger, but you're more responsible with it now. Because it's like, oh, if I do X, Y, Z, then ABC could happen. I gotta think about Emma. I gotta think about the house.
You can't be as impulsive with your
Right,
yeah,
exactly. That was the word I was looking for.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That impulsiveness. Like, cause you remember, I have an idea. I'm like, Michael, let's
Oh,
go. Let's go. We're going right now. I don't care. It has to happen right now. I still have a little bit of that, but
what's gotten better since you graduated?
the tying everything together, the tying the discipline together with everything. So like that
Mm.
was the whole journey pieced together through being able to participate in all those shows, to be able to be successful through certain avenues, the discipline, being able to, like I said, coordinate what you need to coordinate,
Yeah.
the freestyle thinking, being able to use what you have around you to turn nothing into something.
That's a big theme on the podcast, is that idea that we had a lot, but it was based on having a little, we
Right.
so we use the resources that we had, and still to this day,
Yeah.
it's the same. Starting from zero.
Yeah, let's put a vision in everyone's mind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If everyone was to close their eyes and think, going from Miss Tiro's studio, I remember I named the seats at Valley, to dancing in 350,000 people. And you see that cell phone light in the dark, and you're on that stage sweat, and you're like, yeah, let's go. Yes, let's go. Yes. Being finally saying, this is what this energy was meant for.
Mm.
My energy finally could reach that far. 350,000 people. The Madison Square Garden.
Was that Beyonce? What was that? Like, tell me about that.
Remember when she dropped the visual album?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Hi, Miss Carter. If people want to look it back up, you'll notice I was there. It was King Havok.
Mhm.
There was one of the dancers that gave me a hard time in the city that we're now best friends. There's Ozzy. I think you met Ozzy before. Hassim Bivens. Yeah, so all of us were there. It was great.
If there's video, if there's something on YouTube, send me that link.
I'll try to find
I would
something.
love to link that in the
Give
blog.
you little clips and stuff of little things that I
Oh,
yeah.
bring it on. So I actually have one more very important question.
Wow.
What are 3 self-care practices that you do now today to help you to regulate or center yourself?
I stretch in the morning. I'll stretch at work because there's more than stretching. Stretching comes with meditation. If you have an Apple Watch, you usually get that reminder anyway to breathe for a minute. Right. Because of how volatile I accepted myself to be, because I know my mode, I go like this, but I just know how to control it as an adult. But I still internally go like this. I know stretching in the morning for me while doing like affirmatives, that I learned actually in college. I am the leader of my fate, master of my destiny. In Leviticus, I recite that line. I have it written. And then I'll just remind myself, like, today's going to be a good day. If it's raining, liquid sunshine, it's going to be a great day. I do that. Then I'll start my day. I'll listen to a little either Capricorn stuff because I'm a Capricorn. It'll guide me through the day, because then it also you can blame it on something in a way. So it's like, oh, this happened today. You see, it said it in my horoscope, even though I know I don't really believe in all of that. So you laugh about it instead of getting mad about it. You see, so
Right.
that's
It's a
my
way to just frame how you
yeah. So it's like, I expected a bad day because or so when I'm at work, let's say, because there's always a few customers or people have an issue with their money, someone passes away, so they bring the emotion with it, and it gets dumped on you, so the emotion gets carried on you, then you kind of want to debunk it. I learned I have to debunk it because I wear my expressions on my face.
Mhm.
If I'm upset, you'll know I'm upset. So for me, I'll go on the back, I'll throw on the AirPods, I'll turn the timer on for the breathing thing because you'll feel the vibrations to breathe in and out. And then I'll just stretch a little bit, go back into the mirror because my theme for the year is divine reflection. I'll go in the mirror and I'll just say, hey, you got this, basically, in any form that I feel like it.
Right. Just recentering.
Yeah, like
That makes
remember
sense.
why you're here. And Shaq said something. This is a golden nugget. There's about 86,400 seconds in a day. Are you really going to let 60 seconds mess up your 86,400 seconds? So are you gonna let that 60 seconds drag? Your whole 86,000 seconds are messed up, or are you just gonna drop it and let it go? So you have a remaining good 86,000 seconds. You know, sit and think about that.
We sit in some of the bad feelings that we get, and I
Mhm.
think the goal is to figure out how to release it and just move on.
Right.
Let it go, move on, be productive, do something that counteracts those less than good feelings. I wanted to find out, this is actually not, one of the questions from the podcast, but I was intrigued
Mhm.
by this Beyonce opportunity that you had. How did that come about?
I actually had it wasn't a favor. It was more like I got an open spot because I had just had the right people around me.
Mm.
So a few of my colleagues, friends at the time were signed to agency. This guy named Blueprint is signed to them. We know Blueprint, we knew Havoc and all of them, etc. But they were already in LA. So someone was sick and was like, "Oh yeah, I got a couple of buddies that are good." So it was a nice little referral, and then we had a nice set.
Did you learn their choreography, or did you bring your stuff into that?
No, you have to learn the choreography.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay.
So when it comes to that, it's super fast paced, super fast paced. Like even for me, it was oh my God. So there's no one-on-one time basically.
You have to see it, you have to learn it, that's it.
Yeah, they'll do it 3, 4 times. Well, a little bit more than that. But so let's say you do it a total of 6, 7 times. They just expect you to pick it up, or they're gonna tell you to go home. If you don't pick 75% up within these 3 tries, you gotta go. That's with the whole hunger, the drive part comes in, where it's like I'm giving all. Remember, I'm gonna give my arm, so I didn't care if I couldn't do something. I tried as far as I could. 'Cause my flexibility was always an issue, if you remember.
I do.
So that's something I got better at. Flexibility. I'm flexible, a little more flexible. Not split level yet, but like I was able to bone break for a little bit. I don't know if you knew that. I was able to, let's see if I can.
Oh, no, 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 okay, okay, okay. Don't break your bones.
It's been a while, but I was able to do like
When people do like death drops and stuff like, I'm like,
you heard the crack, right?
what did you get out of that experience that was different?
You meet samurais. You meet. I don't know how to explain it. If you could put an image on the dancers that you meet, like what they specialize in, I'm sorry. I would okay. Like there was this girl. She was her flexibility. Like she was talking to me. We're face to face looking at each other, and she just said with the leg, and still talking to me. And then put it down. Did the other one? That one actually bent a little bit like this. I'm trying to look at her, so I'm like, I don't want to look at your leg to be like, what? What just happened? But I, played it off and everything. But I was just like, I turned around. I was just like, wow, what was that?
Yeah, it's a different league.
Just the different masteries you just see, like seeing a master of jazz, seeing a master of ballet, not the little intermediate classes you'll go to, like a master who 20 years in, it's just different.
Did that go back to the like you have to prove yourself?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So in that moment, yes, because I'm competitive still. But it was more of a humbling, like, I'll battle you, but that's amazing. You're amazing. Let me give you your flowers. And it's not like, oh, Michael, we gotta do something. It's not like that anymore. It's more like, no, let me give you your flowers. That's amazing, but I'll battle you if you want to.
I'll bring all of me.
Right. I'll be your mirror because I'm gonna make sure you remember me
too. Yeah. Yeah. Well, dearest Joseph Wallace, it's so lovely to kind of get that reflection back from somebody's experience and the time that, we spent together, and to know that it was meaningful and impactful and that it's transcending time. I think it's validating for me as a teacher, as an artist, as a person, to know that the stuff that I have to give was received and is being put out even more into the young people today who I'll probably never meet, but I'm very fortunate for that. So thank you.
And last thing, guys, don't be afraid to tell other people you're a thespian because there are different troops. And you'd be surprised who says they're also a thespian.
That's right. Well, thank you, my love, for coming in and sharing yourself. Everybody, tune in next time for episode 40. We are getting to the end of season 3. Oh my God. Thank you.
always good.